All right, so I realized that I posted yesterday instead of number 8, I posted number 7. And I was supposed to do 8, A and B. So I'm going to put those videos up right now. So I apologize for that. Let's take a look at number 8A first. For number 8A, again, multiple ways to do your setup. I will do x compares to 8 as x plus 5 compares to 12. Okay? Put your parentheses around your binomial. Cross multiply. I get 12x is equal to 8 times x plus 5. I'm going to hop down here to the bottom right. I'm just going to rewrite what I got. 12x is equal to 8 times x plus 5. All right, so now I'm going to distribute the 8 through. So I have 12x is equal to 8x plus 40 minus my 8x over to both or from the other side, and that gives me 4x equals 40. Divide both sides by 4, and x is 10. Okay, so there is number 8A. All right, for B. B is a long one. All right, you're going to have to do foiling twice, and you're also going to have to factor it. So let's just get after it here. We have x minus 5 compared to x minus 1. Again, multiple ways to do this. And makes me now compare x minus 2 to 2x plus 1. So I hope that I have enough room to do all this. So let's put everything here in parentheses. And then when we cross multiply, all right, that's going to give me 2x plus 1 times x minus 5 as when I cross multiply here, I get x minus 1 times x minus 2. Now, for each side, one side I'll FOIL, one side I'll use the box method. I'll do the box method here first. 2x plus 1, x minus 5. To get values inside the box, I multiply. This gives me 2x squared. Negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. X times 1 is 1x, and negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. When I combine my like terms, and they will be all the values that are the bottom left, top right, 2x squared does not change. Negative 10x and a positive 1x give you negative 9x minus 5. Okay, so there is the left-hand side. And for the right-hand side, I will FOIL. So first, x squared, outer, negative 2x, inner, negative 1x, and a positive 2 there for negative 1 times negative 2 for your last terms. Combine your like terms in the middle here, negative 3x plus 2. So that comes down here. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 2. So now, I have to factor. Okay, I've got x squared in my equation. And I'm going to move all of my terms to the side that will give me a positive x squared value. So that means I'm going to move this term, all of these terms rather, over here. That way my x squared term stays positive. If I were to move 2x squared to the right, I would have a negative 1x squared. And again, as I've said before, that just makes factoring a touch more challenging, and I don't think anybody wants to make this harder than it needs to be. So I minus my x squared from both sides. I add 3x to both sides, and I minus 2 from both sides. That gives me x squared minus 6x minus 7, and then the right-hand side, you know, we've moved everything, so it's all gone, so the only thing there left is 0. Now I can do my AC grouping. Okay, so my A term here is 1. 1 times my C term is 7 gives me 7. Well, the only factors of 7 are 1 and 7, and I need the factors of 7 that will combine to give me this middle term here of negative 6. Well, I have the liberty to make any number positive or negative that I need. Okay, so I would make my 7 negative and my 1 positive. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this, but I'm not going to write negative 6x anymore. I'm going to write negative 7 and 1 x. So x squared minus 7x plus 1x minus 7 is equal to 0. Okay? Now that's the AC part of this, so I need to group them. GCF in each one, so I start in the first set of parentheses first. The GCF there, the greatest common factor, is x. So when I divide this term and this term by x, that gives me x minus 7. GCF here, now there's really absolutely nothing I can factor out. Whenever that's the case, I got to factor out that positive 1. That changes nothing. But now these are both the exact same thing, which is perfect. It means I'm on the right track. Okay. So now that these both match, okay, now I can factor out an x minus 7, and I'm left with x plus 1 is equal to 0. So the final step to this, x minus 7 is equal to 0, and x plus 1 is equal to 0. If I solve each one of these, I'm going to add 7 to both sides, and x equals 7. Or I'll minus 1 from both sides, and x equals negative 1. Now, when I look at the original equation, or the original question rather, all the way back up here, my answers were 7 and negative 1. All right. So I need to make sure that both of them are feasible answers. Well, if I put 7 in for some of these, that's going to give me positive values, right? So the 7 works for all of them because 7 minus 5 is still a positive value, 7 minus 1 is a positive value, 2 times 7 plus 1 is a positive value, and 7 minus 2 is a positive value. So 7's good. Now we need to see if negative 1 is good. Well, I can look right off the bat. If I have negative 1 minus 5, that gives me a negative value, okay, at negative 6, so that's not possible. I can't, like, that would tell me that this length is a negative, and that's impossible. So negative 1 is out. Only 7 is your final answer. Hope this helps. Any other questions, shoot me an email, Snyder E, at nhsd.net. Thanks, guys.